Greetings to you from Adventist Frontier Missions in Cambodia. My name is Joshua Lewis. The bricks that you see behind me are for a clinic that we're getting ready to build. It's for a young man whose name is Soty. He's been studying the Bible with me since January, and he has had close relationships with 3 other Adventist Frontier missionary families that came to this area before my wife Stephanie and I came. And Soty just graduated from nursing school in December. He's been spending his time with me. We've been researching where to send him for the calling that God has put on his heart. He was inspired by seeing missionaries help people to want to start a clinic in a remote place where there was no access to medical service. And during Corona time, when I couldn't travel very much, he was on his own scouting out areas within several hours in any direction on his small motorcycle, looking for a place that needed a clinic. And God led him to a town called Blue Mountain. In Khmer it's called Phnom Kieu. And he's been asking me to go for several months, but I wasn't ready to travel yet. But just a few weeks ago, Stephanie and our son Nathan and Soty's fiance, Vahira, went in the car together and saw Blue Mountain, and we spent the day looking for property. We had a friend that lived there that showed us several places, and Soty had a place picked out that he had seen at a previous time where he had gone by himself. And we didn't feel at peace about that location because it was too near a market, and there was a lot of flies and a lot of chickens. And we kept driving very slowly through the village, just admiring the views and praying and asking God to bring us to the right spot. And we passed a mosque on top of a hill, the chief of the village house, several other houses, and we came to a clearing with one house in the middle with open, empty lots on either side. And I pulled in and introduced myself to a man that I saw there and asked him how long he had lived there, because this village, Phnom Kieu, is a newly settled area. And he said that he hadn't been there very long, but he had moved from our area, which is about 2 hours away, and he said he had moved from the Viet Hong village. And I said, "Oh, you must know Bo then, Bo Hutchison." And he said, "Yes, I know Bo and Yosef and the Nicolaides family." And he used Yosef, which is the nickname that the Muslims gave Greg Timmons, who was an AFM missionary there several years ago. And he said, he almost started crying. He was so happy to see me. He said, "How are you? How is Bo doing?" And he said, "Bo was a dear friend of mine, and he gave my wife and I both medicines that we needed, and he encouraged me to stop smoking." And he almost started crying, and I told him what we were doing, looking for land to start a clinic. And he said, "I will bring you to talk to the owner of the land right next to mine." And it was very exciting because the property that he had was so beautiful, and there was a view in every direction. And he got in the car with us, drove us about 10 minutes away to see the owner of the land next to him. And the owner wanted $600 a meter, so it would have been $6,000 for a meter. $6,000 for 10 meters. And our friend got up from us and motioned for me to leave. And he said, once we got in the car, he said, "I will sell you 14 meters of my land for only $4,000. And we got there, and he showed it to us beside his house. And he said to us, "When my wife hears that it's you that wants to build a clinic in our village, she's going to be even happier than I am." And we said, don't you need to ask her first before you sell the property to us?" And he said, "No, she'll be happier than we are. She'll be happier than I am." And we finally said, okay, when we were writing out the contract to make the deposit, we finally said, we're not going to finish signing until you talk to your wife first. And so he called up his wife and she said, go ahead, and we all felt at peace about it, and instead of $600 per meter of road front, we got it for around $275, and so now we've deposited just $100 just to hold it, and we plan on making a clinic there as soon as possible with the bricks that you see behind us, and we are just waiting in God's timing for that to happen as the funds come in. And in the meantime, Soty and his girlfriend at the time, they just got engaged last week, and their wedding is August 2nd. So it would be a blessing to them to have the clinic done as soon as they can, so that they have a place to live together once they're married. And so I just wanted to say thank you to people that have expressed interest in supporting this project. I asked for your prayers for Soty and his girlfriend. Neither of them are baptized Christians, but their hearts are very open. Soty's fiance just hand knit a purse for Stephanie, and that was just such a nice gift. She had it all wrapped up in special gift wrap, and Soty just texted me last night saying, thank you for showing me the way to God. I love you. Good night, before he went to bed, and just really grateful for the opportunity to disciple this young man, and excited to see him taking stands for God. Just recently he stood up for the Sabbath when there was a test that he needed to take on the Sabbath, and God miraculously allowed the government to reschedule his test for a Sunday. And I'm just grateful for Soty, and wanted to show you the bricks that we've been working hard to make. Soty made these bricks with me during Ramadan. As a Muslim, his habit has been to fast all his life for 1 month during the daylight hours. So we were working in the heat with hot machinery, and he wasn't drinking water, but he wanted to fulfill his dream of making this clinic, so he was still willing to do it. I want to keep this video short, so I'll say bye for now, and we'll be updating you again soon.